Whoa. Hey guys, you're watching QDCrafts, and today I'll be showing you my first impressions on another brand of beads called Artkal beads. Now, I've always been considering switching from perler beads to Artkal beads because they have such a large selection of colors, and some of you know that I've always been using perler brand beads for my projects and tutorials, but they just don't have the colors that I need for some of my projects. So when I saw that Artkal beads had all these different colors, I decided to contact them to see if I could try their different beads, and they sent me this box. So I can't wait to see the supplies that I received, and thank you Artkal beads for sending me all these supplies. I hope that I can make a bunch of different cool tutorials and projects for my viewers, and let's take a look at what's inside. I received 30 different bags of midi or regular sized Artkal beads, and before I go into detail, I should also mention that I'm not being paid by them to review these. All opinions are my own. However, I am probably going to be a bit biased because just look at all of these beads. There are so many colors that I've never seen before, and I can't wait to try each and every one of them. Taking a closer look at the packaging, each of these bags contain 1,000 beads, and there's a little sticker that has the color code because there's just too many colors to remember by name. And on the back there are some instructions on how to use these Artkal beads if you've never tried fuse beading before. The first set of beads that I was really excited to see were these grayscale beads. The range of gray shades from black to white is something that I've never really seen before in any fuse bead brand, and I believe that these would be really great for people who are interested in making black and white bead portraits. You know, the ones where people pixelize a photo and turn it into this huge canvas of bead art. I think that having so many different shades would make the portraits much more detailed, and I should definitely try making one of those portraits one day. I noticed that they sent me 2 bags of the same dark brown color, but on the bags, each of them have different codes. One is SO3, the other S16. SO3, according to the color chart that I found online, was supposed to be orange, so I'm guessing there was a mix-up with the stickers. I don't mind since I didn't pay for these, but I really hope that no paying customer got brown instead of orange, otherwise that would be a manufacturing error on Artkal's part. Onto one of my favorite color combos ever. It's all about the beautiful blue, bluish green, and green beads that basically represent a mermaid. I'm not sure what I'll be making with these beads yet, but I must say that they are so nice to look at. Lastly, I have the shades of red that will eventually come in handy because red is such a common color to use, but I think I'll use the pink beads for a Minecraft pig that I'll have to design eventually. And that's it. Those are all the colors. I put them all in these individual drawers in this drawer organizer that I got from Amazon. It's similar to the perler bead one I have, except this one can hold 60 different colors. I thought that I would only be receiving the bags of midi beads, but to my surprise, I also received some mini beads as well. I've tried them before in another video that I'll link in the description, and hopefully this will be the start of more mini bead projects on my channel. I also received a bag of other supplies and these 3 clear 29 by 29 pegboards that are able to connect together for making larger projects. They also threw in quite a few color charts for all of Artkal's available bead colors in both the midi and mini size. Although it doesn't seem like there are that many colors since they are kind of arranged all over the place, when you see the printed color chart that is also available in this package and shows all shades organized in order, you can easily tell that Artkal has a phenomenal color palette that gives people a lot more choices. Ironing sheets were included in this package, both the regular ironing paper that gives a matte finish and the plastic sheets that give a shiny and reflective finish after you iron the beads. There were also some midi bead tweezers and mini bead tweezers that look like this. I usually don't use tweezers for midi beads because I like to use my hands to pick them up, but for mini beads, which are so tiny, these fine tips at the end of the tweezers will really help pick those beads up and would probably make the projects a lot faster to complete. Now I'll be doing a quick test of all these supplies by making a few easy bead sprites. I made a black outline of this cute bear using tweezers, but like I said earlier, I still prefer using my hands. Although when filling the outline in, I did find that the tweezers helped me pick up the beads that were not standing upright, so they are definitely useful at times. Once the head is done, I'm going to be using some mini beads to make the facial features. I'm not sure what the purpose is for having a difference between the mini bead tweezers. One has a straight tip versus the other that has a curved tip, but I chose to use the curved one because it naturally seemed easier to use and hold, since you can just keep your hand parallel to your working surface. But for the straight tip tweezer, you have to kind of hold it up so that it is completely vertical, which puts slightly more strain on your hand. So I think I'll most likely be using the curved tweezers most of the time. Once all the facial features are done, it is time to iron. I first took off all the bead pieces using some tape so my mini bead board doesn't accidentally get melted. Then I took the Artkal plastic sheets, and it says to iron this side up, so I'll place it onto my project just like this. And I usually set the iron to number 1 for mini beads since they will melt in a matter of seconds. So I don't want to over melt the project by setting it too high. Then flipping the project over, I took off all the tape that was on it, and I did the exact same thing on the other side with another sheet of plastic. A great thing about plastic sheets is that they're transparent, so you can easily tell when the beads are fusing together, and this allows me to judge right away when I need to stop ironing. Even though these sheets are heat tolerant, they can still change shape slightly, and this was at a very low heat setting. So let's see how well the plastic reacts to my iron set at number 3, which is what I usually use for midi beads. My favorite part of using plastic sheets is getting to peel the project off and seeing the amazing shine that is on all of the beads. I personally like the look of shiny beads on certain projects, but I'm sure there are some of you who would still prefer the classic matte finish, so let me know what you like in the comments below. Now I just have to glue on the facial features, and then Ryan will be complete. For my first regular sized Artkal bead project, I think that this turned out well, and it's pretty much the same as using perler beads. The beads melted evenly and were the same thickness as my usual melted projects, so I don't see a big difference between the brands in terms of quality. Quantity-wise, I still think that Artkal has the upper hand for color selection. They don't just have a red and a lighter red, they have a large spectrum of different colors, and the beads I'm using to make Mario and Luigi are actually made up of many different shades that I've never worked with before. Even though they look very similar to colors that I already have in perler beads, they are in fact different, and that's definitely one of the greatest factors for why I've been considering switching to this brand. I decided to compare the plastic and regular ironing sheet by ironing Mario and Luigi with different sheets at the same time, which by the way is kind of risky, so you probably shouldn't do this yourself if you don't want to mess up your project. There doesn't seem to be a very big difference between the plastic and regular sheet in the time that it takes for the beads to melt. The only noticeable difference is of course the appearance of the project after the beads are fused. So now that Mario and Luigi are complete, which one do you prefer? And of course I have to try out the mini beads again. I haven't made many mini bead projects, but I think that they are so adorable because tiny things are just so precious, and here I made another little bear named Kumamon. He's actually a Japanese character that inspires me a lot, so I thought I would make him just for fun. Using the tweezers definitely helps immensely. If you don't like picking up regular sized beads with your fingers, then mini beads are an even bigger challenge. The tweezers are quite essential if you don't want to cause your fingers to cramp and get tired. And overall, I'm happy that these beads don't melt too quickly at my lowest heat setting because I wanted to still show the little holes in the beads after ironing, which can be difficult since they're tiny and melt much quicker than regular beads. All in all, my first time trying midi Artkal beads has been positive. Compared to perler beads that I've been using since I started this hobby, I'd say that Artkal beads are for the most part identical. They melt to the same thickness that I would expect at my usual heat settings, they don't have any odors, and all the beads melt quite evenly. And I keep saying this, but for me, I'm always enticed by beautiful colors, and that is exactly what Artkal has. They undoubtedly have much more variety that gives you a greater opportunity to make any project you want without being restricted due to a lack of the correct shade. Of course, there are many more colors that they probably don't have, but I've seen that they have been asking people who are interested in fused beads on Instagram to send in an RGB value so that they might be able to expand their color palette even more. In my opinion, Artkal is doing a great job competing with perler, and maybe I should do a more in-depth video of perler versus Artkal beads. I'm not completely sure if I will switch to this permanently, or maybe I'll just mix some perler and Artkal beads together for some projects, but for now, stay tuned for future tutorials that will incorporate some of my new Artkal bead colors, and I'll see you guys next time with another QDCraft.